to press a button. No, I don't. Hi, Ellen. I want to tell you that it's been about 3 weeks since we finished the life coaching and thing. It's been very, very successful. I'm happy to have been able to carry through with what you helped me work through and develop, which was, to be able to focus on my work, set aside time for it, recognize that is what I wanted and what it was that I needed to do. What else could I ask from a life coach? I hope all my other endeavors, I'll be able to use some of those insights that I got from you and be able to carry this forward into other projects.
All right.
Thank you. Helen Zuman, life coach.
You are so welcome. Um, yeah, so I just have a few other questions for you. Why did you sign up?
Well, there are areas of that I'd like to do more. I'm kind of surprised, and at my age, you'd think I would have already figured out how I do things and what my habits are, and they might be hard to change. But it turns out that some things that get in the way, sometimes they're not habits even yet, and that they can be. A reason to change can be discovered, and I wanted to make some changes.
Mhm.
How's that? To,
Yeah, and before we started, what were you expecting?
I didn't really know.
Mhm.
It's if you. Um, I wasn't expecting to be able to find a very specific, concrete change of something that I could do. I thought it would be like like a discussion, like when you talk about. It's important to do more exercise. That's a wonderful thing to talk about. It doesn't mean you go out there and do exercise. And this was a little bit more. We talked about it, and I felt I discovered it, and then also was able to feel motivated to actually know what the next step was to do. So that was very useful to me.
Mhm.
It was beyond talk.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, and so what enabled you to actually like make those changes?
Um, I think it came from within. I discovered with you with the questions, with the prodding and the process. I've kind of found the inner motivation to actually go and make the thing change that I wanted to do. It was like it's not that I hadn't known what it was that I wanted to do and hadn't known in theory. Well, if you want to get this work done, then stop doing this other thing. But like this was like kind of what comes to mind is like putting like a focus, like a magnifying glass. This is what you want to do, the specific thing, and go and do it, and because you want to, and this is why. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
that what you were hoping would happen with me? This was your plan. Maybe this was the plan all along. You're just going to make him put the magnifying glass and put the sun on it to start that fire.
Mhm.
That's really, in a way, sometimes what people need when they think when you need the spark and what, like it's just coming to me now. Like, so where does that spark come from? Is it going to come from a metaphorical piece of flint that we're going to keep hitting at until we find the thing, or can we get the spark starting by taking a magnifying glass and focusing the light of your idea, whatever it is, onto the kindling you prepared? I like that metaphor more. I think this is. I'm going to have to
Mhm.
think of that. That's really like a nice way to think of how it is you start the fire within something. You prepare and you find the motivation, and then you kind of focus it and
Mhm.
until without moving around until the little fire starts. And that's it's better than like whacking at stones and hoping something will fly off and hit it. So that's my. I don't think I could think of anything better to say about your life coaching than that. That was like a really. I think that was it. We
Mhm.
focused on the work I've already done. I was ready to go. It wasn't that you had to tell me what the kindling is going to be and what the little pieces of, you know what I'm saying, the shaved wood and the little pieces of paper of my work and the ideas. That was already there. Now I just needed to magnify the intensity of my desire to do it.
Yeah. And can
Nice.
you say specifically what you were working on?
I'm working on a memoir that of writing that my mother has has left behind in videos that were made. My mother had an incredible story, and it deserves being told. And it's a lot of work. It's a Holocaust survivor story. So it's and I wanted to also tie into to what it means to be a human being who survives or could have been one of, you know, Helen, what I was thinking is how rare it is to read memoirs of the people who were that committed the crimes. Hardly any writing. I was a German guard during the Holocaust. Like, you don't read those people's stories, and they're just as human as the victims. And you read no memoirs of the people who didn't make it, who died. So there's a sense of kind of uplift and life makes it over suffering. And look how like when you read Holocaust stories, and it's really that's just a thought I'm having that it's it's a very very thin sliver of what humanity is in situations like that. And now we have killings all over, and we see in Ukraine and other places.
Mhm.
We'll never read the memoirs of those who didn't make it,
Yeah. Yeah.
or the killers. Anyway, I bet you're sorry you asked that.
No, no, not at all. And so, can you just give people kind of a snapshot of sort of before and after, like where you were at with your writing process and your writing practice before we
Well,
started coaching together, and then where you are now?
that was the writing was like an ad hoc thing. I didn't have a specific time set aside for it. I have a lot of projects to do and a lot of emails to answer and a lot of things that I want to get done and that I need to get done. And and what I realized, and so I would do them as a routine first thing because they were urgent and immediate, and and I would do the writing afterwards. And I turned that around and realized that those things that I start first thing in the morning could actually wait a few more hours, and I could do the writing at a set time when I wanted to, instead of doing it when I had time left over from these other projects.
Mhm.
I think that was a really kind of that things can wait, especially that you know that you could not just prioritize. The letters are important. They're more important in a way than working in a journal. They need to be finished by a deadline, but that deadline doesn't begin yet. I could do that at 10 o'clock just as well as at 8 in the morning or 11 or something. I could put that off. Putting that gap in the morning was very useful.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's a, this sense of what's important and what's a priority, I think, was useful for me to realize. Look, that the journal is memoir is an important thing for me to do. Those emails that are priorities are actually not, if they're made up in my head that they need to be done right away. They need to be done. They need to be done before the memoir will be completed, obviously. But they don't need to be written and worked on before. And that was a really good insight.
Right.
You know, that's,
Yeah.
so you should bottle that insight. You don't have to go and give people just, why don't you just write that in a fortune cookie, and then when people want to sign up for your Helen Zuman's life coaching, you send them the fortune cookie and you say, and have a cookie too. Make yourself a cup of tea, eat this cookie, and read
Right.
this. Uh, it's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you'd like
No,
to
no
share
thanks.
about?
No, no, Helen, thanks.
Okay.
I don't know. That's. I think I. Yeah, I think that was look really very helpful, and I hope it doesn't sound like too scripted, like you wrote. But it was like it was really. I hope you have as much success with all your patients. With with all, if you had, do you have any more clients?
um, yes, I do.
And did they are they all as happy as I am? Have they all had
They
such
either
great
they either
success?
are or they're
Or
going to
lying,
be.
or they're lying, or they're what?
They either are or they're going to be.
Or they're going to be. Oh, okay.
If
Oh,
I
that's
have anything
wonderful.
to do with it.
Good. Very good. Okay.